Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so it's possible I'll stumble over my words at some point. And also apologies if the quality of this video is not that great, if there's any lag, anything like that at all. Sadly, it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision related video here on my channel, specifically Junior Eurovision, because in about a week and a half's time it will be time for the 2023 edition of the Junior Eurovision Song Contest, which this time around will be taking place in Nice in France. I've got my notebook here because I have recently listened to all of the songs in full again, and I'm going to be telling you my thoughts on each track. And at some point next week I will be filming a follow-up video to this one you're watching now, and it will be my prediction for the results, which I have made, but my prediction might slightly change between now and then, which is why I'm holding off on including it in this video. But stick around on my channel if you're interested to know where I think each country is going to finish next week. So, I am going to go through each song based on a running order that I put together myself, so bear that in mind. I also want to address a comment that I received on, I think, my most recent video, where somebody said, can I film in a widescreen format? My answer to that is, I'd love to do it, but I don't think I can because of my ancient setup. So I'll see what I can do, but no guarantees moving forwards. I just wanted to say that I did indeed see that comment. So, Ukraine is up first. Before I get into that though, I just want to talk a little bit about this year's competition, which I have addressed in previous videos. Of course, the theme is Heroes. It's taking place, this year's competition, on November the 26th at the Palais Nikaya. Olivier Mine and Laurie Tillemann are the presenters, and one of them, I can't remember which one, I think it was both of them, maybe? They both look familiar. Oh yes, Olivier Mine had co-hosted the 2021 contest as well, so he's back. We have 16 songs involved. Germany are returning, no Kazakhstan or Serbia, and Estonia, great stuff, deciding to join the party as well. It's the first time all members of the Big Five are taking part at the same time in a JESC. Here in the UK, it's being broadcast on BBC Two and CBBC, which is fantastic. And Lithuania recently announced that they are broadcasting it as well for the first time in years. So that could be a sign that next year Lithuania may rejoin Junior Eurovision. Of course, their geographical neighbours, Estonia, are involved for the first time this year. So, let's go through the songs. It has been a few days since I listened to these tracks, so I haven't really made a great deal of notes, and I might be forgetting a few things as well. But let's go through it. I'm interested to know what you think about these songs, of course. Let me know your ranking in the comments, or songs that you're particularly excited to see and hear on that Junior Eurovision stage, which is being constructed as I speak. Any comments much appreciated, and as always, feel free to check out the links in the description to my other social media pages. That would be much appreciated too. So, Ukraine, they are represented by Anastasia Dimid, and the song is called Kvitka. I've written here that this is a catchy, sweet, and quite cute song. It might be the cutest song of the year, you could say. It's very Junior Eurovision friendly, I guess, for want of a better term. There is momentum in the melody. It's a very jaunty, happy, feel-good sort of song, really. It starts off in a somewhat mystical / dreamlike fashion, as I've written here. There is a high note, and then it just sort of turns into a little bit of a bop, I suppose. I don't really have anything else to say about this. I've written that there's English lyrics, which I don't really remember. It says here it's performed in Ukrainian and English as well, and I don't know. I know I'm not the only one who thinks this, but sometimes it's best to just keep a song in one language. So I'm not sure the English lyrics really work terribly well in Ukraine's entry, but it's a very minor quibble. How well I think this song will do, I think people will be very charmed by it, and I think the voting jury will be charmed by it as well, but I certainly don't think it's a contender for the win. In terms of the staging, perhaps lots of traditional imagery and symbols on the backdrop. It would be a good opener to the show. Of course, the running order, from what I can understand, it's being completely devised at random. Previously, the opening song, the closing song, and the host nation's entry have all been decided at random, their position in the running order. But this year, it seems as though it's a free-for-all, and that will be determined at the opening ceremony, which takes place on November the 20th, hosted by Carla. Bim Bam Toi, of course, the French representative at Junior Eurovision several years ago. It says here, there will be a draw that will determine which half, I didn't see that when I looked at this last time, which half each of the 16 participating songs will perform. The draw will also determine the position of France and which country will open and close the show. So it is actually going to be the same. I don't think it said that the other day, but there we are. Wonderful stuff. Now, song 2 in my devised running order is Albania. This is Viola Giseli with Bota Im. Now, this song was one of the first songs to be released, chosen, whatever, and I didn't really like the sort of national final performance that we had, mainly because it wasn't the most impressive stage, the best atmosphere, whatever. The studio cut, all of these songs, by the way, I should say, I didn't listen to on YouTube. I listened to them on Spotify because they're on there now. The studio version is very nice. This song does have a slight emphasis on slight rocky edge. If Viola wanted to record a full-blown rock version of this song, she probably could. I think she's got the vocal chops to do it. There's no denying that this song does sound quite similar to Creep by Radiohead, which is one of my favourite songs. I mean, it is very similar in the chorus, it's fair to say. I've written, yes, nice vocals in the studio version. The revamp has made this song quite a bit stronger than the original version, absolutely. In terms of the staging, maybe Viola alone on stage, on a little podium, a smoke machine, really ramping up the drama of this song, because it does feel like quite a dramatic entry. The only thing that's letting this track down is that not a lot of people really seem to be loving it, and, in all honesty, it is a fairly unmemorable track. So I don't think Albania will be doing the business this year. But there we are. Next up is Poland. This is Maya with I Just Need a Friend. And I sort of glossed over this entry when it was chosen / released. And now I've listened to it again, I really don't mind it. It's a very nice track. Subtle verses, sort of echoey vocals in the background. I quite like that. The chorus is pretty stirring. It's not an explosive chorus, though. It's not really that much more impactful than the verses, perhaps. You know, the song just sort of meanders along. You could say it doesn't build up to much. But on the whole, it's still very nice. Interestingly here, the song is in Polish and English. I'm not sure we needed Polish lyrics, funnily enough. But there we are, it is what it is. The backdrop could be quite sparkly. I was just picturing how each performance could be staged when I listened to them. And it feels like quite a heartfelt song. You know, it feels quite meaningful. Vocally pretty decent in the studio version. Really nice. I don't think it's one of Poland's best, but it's still a very credible entry. And I'm pretty sure 3 of these songwriters have written Polish winners in the past, so they know what they're doing. Moving on to song 4, which is Georgia. This is Anastasia and Ranina with Over the Sky, performed in Georgian and English. To me, this is bang average, I'll be honest. I think it's a very average, fairly unremarkable song. But Georgia continue to punch above their weight when it comes to Junior Eurovision. I've written here that it builds up fairly nicely. The harmonies are quite strong. The Georgian language sounds pretty good here as well. Needs a little bit more of a sparkle. I've said this about so many songs in the adult competition over the years. It's just missing that little extra something for me. But this is fine, really, because Georgia, like I've just said, they know what they're doing. They've won 3 times with 3 songs that I didn't really love, it must be said. And I mean, they've had songs in the past that have fared much better than they should have done. Who remembers Funky Lemonade from years ago? That was 2nd place. Unbelievable. Anyway, it doesn't really keep me engaged, this song. It's quite pretty. You know, the chorus is quite pretty and fairly pleasant to listen to. It just doesn't really do anything for me. Powerful vocals, yes, yes, yes. This will probably do quite well, but it's not a contender for the win as far as I'm concerned. So there we go. Next up is Germany. This is Ohne Worte by Fear. This was the first song confirmed for this year's lineup. Simplistic verses, very easy to listen to, very pleasant to listen to, easily Germany's strongest effort to date, no doubt about that. The chorus could pack more of a punch, a bit like with Poland's entry. It's not quite hitting the mark in the way I want it to, but this is again a fairly minor quibble. Yes, very relaxing, chilled out, moves along quite nicely, feels quite uplifting in a sense as it progresses. If this is very strong live, this really should be finishing in the top half, absolutely. But I also worry that it's going to be overshadowed by some more expressive entries. So it's very up in the air as to how well Germany will do this year. It's a song that deserves to do quite well. Fear seems very likeable. Her voice in the studio version sounds pretty clean, pretty strong. I like it. Moving on to, is it Portugal next? Yes, I believe so. Portugal. This is Julia Machado with Where I Belong. This is lovely. Fairly sparse instrumentation. There doesn't need to be anything to the staging here, really. I imagine, in my own head, I can see lyrics of the song on the backdrop, muted lighting, maybe a smoke machine or something like that. It's a song in which her voice has to shine through. Let's not focus on dancers. I don't know if she's having dancers or anything like that. Let's not focus on anything that's superfluous to the performance, because we don't really need it. This is a song in which her voice does all the heavy lifting, as it should really. She's got a lovely voice. She did like a post on my joint Instagram page as well, which was pretty nice. In the music video, I believe she has paint on her face, something like that. Maybe keep that, because it will help her stand out. But on the whole, this doesn't really stand out much at all. But we can't underestimate it. As I've written here, Portugal have fared quite well over the past few years in the online vote. Remember Urapage, the last time the contest was in France? That did very well in the online vote. So don't rule out Portugal getting a pretty decent mark again this year. The juries should like it as well. I have a feeling they won't in big numbers, but you never know. Moving on to France, the host nation. This is Zoe Clausure with Cœur, which means heart. And this is typical France at Junior Eurovision, really. They're very good at light, fluffy, charming, sweet, catchy songs. They just keep producing the goods year after year after year. And I must say, next year I would like something very different from France, but there we are. This is bouncy and fun, not quite as potent as previous French entries. You know, it's not really having as much of an impression on me, this particular entry from France. I'm sure the staging will elevate at no end. Intriguing staging question mark I've written here. Very apt for Junior Eurovision. I have read a few comments, this was albeit quite some time ago now, saying that her live voice might not be too strong. I mean, we shouldn't judge too harshly here. These are children we're talking about. But maybe that could play a part in whether this song wins or not. The juries will no doubt love this. The public will also love this. Let's not be surprised if France win again. Do I think it's the strongest song? No, I don't. Is it my favourite of the year? No, it isn't. Is it one of the strongest songs this year? Yes, it is. It sounds a cut above, as I've written here in my notes. This sounds like a Junior Eurovision winner. There's no other way to describe it, really. Let's move on to North Macedonia. Now, I've written here, in all honesty, this is the strongest song in this year's lineup. It is Tamara Gruevska with Kashimi Kashimi Koi. Very grown up, instrumentally beautiful with the strings and everything. This would be a great entry for North Macedonia at the adult competition. The strongest song in the lineup, but that means little, as I've written here. If she nails the vocals, if the staging is beautiful and impactful, there is no reason why this song shouldn't be challenging for victory. Loads of people love this, so now they've got to actually vote for it. This has happened before with North Macedonia. Great song, very credible entry, and then in the online vote, not really getting much at all. 20 points. Rubbish. This song deserves more than that, absolutely, and the juries should be eating this up for breakfast, lunch and dinner as well. She should be alone on stage, like with Portugal, let the vocals shine through. There's emotion in her voice, very stirring stuff. What a very, very credible entry. Good job. Skopje 2024. Why not? Why not? Let's move on to the United Kingdom. Now, I did a reaction video to this song, so I'll keep my opinions brief here. This is Stand Unique, the female trio with Back to Life. It's quite a sassy pop song. It's really going along very nicely, but the chorus, you have to say, is a bit of a letdown. You know, there's not much that's really new or fresh or exciting about that element of the song. The drop is a bit of a letdown, and I think that's why a lot of people maybe aren't loving this as much as they probably want to, if you see what I mean. They have performed this on Blue Peter, which is a long-running children's show here in the UK. They didn't sing live. They are performing this again on 2 different shows this week before they fly out to France, and I'm hoping that they perform it live on Children in Need, absolutely, the big charity event. Because if they're not singing live, why not? That would be a bit concerning to me. The staging, I imagine, will be similar to the music video, with those sort of little podiums and the different coloured lights. Fine, but it must be elevated. You've got to enhance what you are already delivering. Nail the camera angles. It is a catchy song. The girls are very likeable. They've been active on social media, on the BBC Eurovision page, CBBC as well. They're all on social media doing very well for themselves. It's a very professionally executed song, I would say. It feels quite current, an enjoyable track. Is it going to win? Probably not. But I think we will do all right in the online vote, and I think the juries will respond with quite a few points as well. We move on to Estonia, I believe is next. This is the debut entry by Arhana Sandra Arma, and the song is called Hoiame Kokku, and this is just lovely. It's a beautiful song. The staging could really be key here, because if there's non-existent staging, this song is, I hate to say it, probably dead on arrival. There's a strong, emphatic chorus. Her voice is so powerful as well in this song. I think because she's doing the sort of backing vocal as well. But it's really, really nice. Will it leave much of an impression on voters? You've got to think. 11-year-olds, they are going to look at Armenia, for example, and then Estonia. Who do you think is going to get more love? Really? You know, which song will children be drawn to more? Probably the one that stands out more. That's not the way it should be, necessarily, but you know it's going to happen. And I do worry about Estonia's chances. It moves from quiet to loud, and then quiet again. It's a really solid debut entry, there's no doubt about it, but I do wonder about Arhana's chances. Not much more to say about it. It's a very solid effort. We move on to the Netherlands, I think it is. Net, as I've written here. Oh, yes. This is, of course, Sepp and Yasmin with Holding On To You. Robert Dawn has written this. He's written a bunch of Dutch Junior Eurovision entries, and he knows his stuff. This is a straightforward pop bop. There's no other way to describe it. The vocals, hopefully, will be very strong live. They have performed this live, of course, at the Dutch national selection. That wasn't a bad performance. No doubt the choreography will stay the same. It is a positive, uplifting song with movement and obviously choreography, as I've just said. Not super jury friendly, and it's a song that doesn't really do anything new. I'm not sure that matters. I mean, the Netherlands usually do quite well in the online vote. If this gets a cushy slot in the running order as well, certainly the stars might align. This could win. The Netherlands have only won once, which is quite surprising. But yes, this could absolutely be our winner. It is really quite generic, isn't it? You know, the beat, the melody. I've heard it all before somewhere, but it's good. It is one of my favourites. In fact, it is my favourite. I believe it is, of the year. So there you go. I do need to listen to it again, though. Yeah. Lots of flashing lights. Very slick stuff. Nothing else to say about it, really. It's a good song. But the Netherlands often underperform, I think. Luna last year. That should have done a lot better, really. But there we are. Julia with a round all those years ago. That should have done a bit better. I don't know. It feels to me as though the Netherlands are expected to do well more often than not, but then they just really fall short. I don't know why that is. We move on to Malta. This is Julan with Stronger, written by a couple of Swedes by the looks of it. This should not be underestimated whatsoever. This is a very jury-friendly song. The juries might absolutely gush over this like you wouldn't believe. Remember a few years ago, Malta had a song called Marching On? That did very well with the juries. This is obviously a slightly different entry, but I think the juries will like it just as much, if not more. This could actually win the jury vote. There you go, I've said it, it could happen. I mean, it's powerful. She's a great singer. There's something ever so slightly diva-ish about this one. In terms of the staging, I've written silhouettes here. Sort of like dramatic shadow effects. I don't know what that's all about. That's the way I could vision it in my head. Maybe it's a bit too boring for some people. You've got to think, 11-year-olds, people like that, are they going to be bored by this? Probably. Who knows? Malta, you know, they always struggle in the online vote. They struggle at the adult competition. I expect more of the same, unfortunately. It feels very, I use that word again, uplifting, because it does feel that way to me. It's a very relaxing song to listen to as well. There's an old school charm to it. It feels fairly old-fashioned, but not in a bad way whatsoever. I like it, but certainly amongst all of the other songs, does it stand out enough? How are you going to stage this to make it stand out enough? I don't know, but I'm excited to see next week. We then move on to Armenia. Can they win again? This is Yan Girls with Do It My Way, co-written by former winner Malena. This is very much in the mould of Blackpink, groups like that, K-pop stuff. This is obviously going to stand out a mile. Very striking, full of sass, full of energy, lots of confidence, hopefully, as well, that will shine through on stage. What have I written here? It's a very choppy sort of song. You know, there's almost a robotic element to it. I don't know how else to describe it, but maybe that's just K-pop music as a whole. It feels very sort of chopped up and then smushed together in some sort of order. Don't sacrifice the vocals for choreography. You know, focus on your vocals too. Don't just throw yourselves about the stage for 3 minutes. Reference to Cha Cha Cha, I've written here. Yeah, I haven't really made too many notes about this. I've got to say, I listened to it, and I actually found it a tad boring. I know, outrageous, but I really did. I wasn't totally engaged with this song. Maybe because it's a genre that I don't really listen to a great deal. The electronic sounds quite nice. At the end, when it really becomes quite rapid, let's have flames, let's have pyro, let's have those flashing lights, let's have that choreography on point. That could be a real show-stopping moment. It feels more like a chant than a song, to be honest with you. The chorus, yeah, I don't know, it's not really doing much for me. But then again, I'm clearly not the target audience for a song like this. I like it, but I don't love it. Should it win? Could it win? Yes. Do I think it deserves to win? Maybe. I mean, it will stand out so much. But I don't know. I don't know. The juries have got to be really on board with this as well. We move on to Italy. We're nearly there now. Oh dear, excuse me. This is Melissa and Rania with Un Mondo Giusto. When this song was released, a lot of people said it felt very mature, very Sanremo. I sort of agree with that. It's a very pretty song, but it is vanilla and forgettable, as I've written here. I'm afraid to say it. Will big numbers vote for this? I don't think so. One of the women here has a slightly raspy tone to her voice, which I actually quite like. It reminds me of Mazzy Star. Oh my god, Fade Into You, one of the all-time great songs I've ever listened to. It reminds me ever so slightly of that song. Highly recommend you listen to it. Yeah, juries may like it, but not enough to see this do really well. Out of all the songs this year, this is the one that I've seen the least attention for, actually, I'll be honest. So I do wonder about their chances, but it's not a bad song. We move on to Ireland now. This is Jessica McKean with Ashlyn, which is just a beautiful word. Sophie Lennon's co-written this. She's in the music video as well, which is wonderful. Ireland doing the same thing again, it must be said. So like with France, something different next year, absolutely. Maybe a rock song in the Irish language, I'd love to hear it. This is another song that I sort of dismissed when it was released for whatever reason. I just never got around to really giving it the time of day. But my God, it's a strong, beautiful entry. I think this is absolutely going to be one of my big favourites of the year. It deserves points, but may fall short. Very optimistic, soaring vocals. I love that. It's ethereal, dreamy, pretty. Imagine this at the adult show, I've written here. Imagine this at the adult competition. It could be a real moment. I don't really see this being staged in a manner different to what we had last year from Ireland. I think there will be a lot of similarities. Maybe Sophie Lennon will be there on stage with Jessica as well. That would be a nice touch. It's not too over the top. It's just a very, very lovely, relaxing song. It feels very hopeful and sweet, and I am really, really enjoying it. But I'm not expecting it to finish really high up in the results. We wait and see. That leaves, unless I've made a massive mistake here, it leaves Spain. And I will tell you now, Spain's the country to beat as far as I'm concerned. This is Sandra Valero with Love You, and this is performed in a multitude of languages as well as Spanish. This is so cheerful, very cutesy. Again, hopeful, optimistic, sweet, happy, charming, very, very suitable for Junior Eurovision, absolutely. In terms of the staging, maybe quite similar to the music video. You know, she starts off in bed, then she gets out of bed, and then she's maybe singing in front of the mirror, brushing her teeth or something, and then, you know, she's sitting down and having breakfast, and then she's having lunch, and then she's with her friends, and she's got that suitcase that she has in the music video. You know, over the course of the 3 minutes, you could just replicate the music video as Sandra goes about her day. You know, so she takes us on this journey. I think that would be really good. It's a very playful song, taking a leaf out of France's book. You know, this could easily be the French entry, in all honesty, with Spanish lyrics, of course. Yeah, I really like this. I really like this. It's a very strong effort. Something quite different from Spain, actually. I think we were expecting something maybe a little bit more traditional, maybe something a little bit slicker, if you see what I mean. But actually, this is working. It's working. And if this is on late, if not last in the running order, it could absolutely be the one to beat, because Spain usually do well in the online vote, and I think the juries will really like this as well. As long as those live vocals are chef's kiss, Absolutely. This is a major contender. Barcelona 2024. Yes, it could happen. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, my preview of this year's JESC. Let me know what you think about this year's lineup. A lot of ballads, which makes me think that the up-tempo songs will absolutely stand out so very much. But out of the ballads, which one stands out the most to you? Which one do you think will do the best? North Macedonia? Maybe. Or is it going to be another somewhat disappointing result for them? Will it be France back-to-back? Will Spain win for the first time in what will be 19 years, I think it is? Heavens above. Of course, this year marks 20 years since Junior Eurovision began in Denmark, was it not? All those years ago, absolutely. And yeah, that's all I've really got to say. I will be filming that prediction video at some point within the next 7 days, and more videos will follow soon to do with the adult competition as well, because the Czech Republic have decided that they're going to have a big national final in early December. We've got the French song, Sweden's lineup, rumours galore about that. We're getting that in December. The Slovenian lineup in December. Other countries lines up, you know, there's so much happening and everything. Do keep an eye on my other social media pages, particularly the Instagram page rajc.esc. I've been posting a lot on there, wish list related stuff recently, and there will be plenty more posts up on that page as well moving forwards. So yeah, that's about it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and let me know what you think about this year's Junior Eurovision. Bye for now.